Now we have this next bike project. This is a Vesta from Panasonic. Most definitely, this bicycle came all the way from Japan. It was brought here in the Philippines through second-hand seller all over the Philippines. Now, this video is just to document the process and of course to document the actual condition of the bicycle before partaking into the proper restoration and before we take all of the parts. Panasonic is a very known brand in Japan. So here's the head tube. Here is the serial number of the frame. So what possible year that this was produced and manufactured. And this is a very common design in Japan because it is a step-through bicycle mostly used by women, female riders that are carrying loads of groceries or their kids at the back or here in front. So probably there's a basket. As you can see, the fender is already bent and the tire which I removed upon coming here. And here is the lock, the fork lock, which is supposed to be installed in this part, backside of the fork. Now this very visible that people who removed this doesn't have any key, so they forced and pry it just to remove it. Now on the cockpit, the handlebar, here's the grip shift, which is actually a nice component. These are really good components. Set of Nexus, it says enter 3, so there are 3 gears. Is designed sloping, especially in Japan when the rider is carrying load like children or some groceries. Now going back into the grip shift, so the handle side here is missing already. Still have to check the actual condition of the grip shifter 3, 1, 2, and 3, so I cannot force it. And the other side of the handle, you can see there's still this rubber handle. And then the actual condition of the head parts, we will clean this up, add more grease on the bearings. As I was shaking a moment ago, that's still okay, so the bearings might need a little bit of servicing, but I think there's none sort of a problem. I hope and I guess so. So the brakes are, there's more life to it. So maybe we can still use this one, and then the lights is still present without its wire. We might not be able to bring this back again, or hopefully we could find some parts for it. And then the fender, we will be putting it back again and removing the bend of it. And now going into the drivetrain. So here the pedal are not present at all, and then on the other side, so as you can see, the chain guard is still there with a little bit of some scratches, some rust, which is very normal. As you can see, it's very visible that the quality of this bicycle and the overall parts are still intact, so it just the rust didn't go that deep. I hope so. And here is the rod for the gear shifting and some mechanism. Glad that this didn't fall off during the transportation. And also the kickstand is still there, but it needs a little bit of polishing. As you can see, the rust has already been hearing much all around parts. And then the drum brake, I think the drum brake is pretty much durable anyway. This is one part of the rear hub, but that's one thing that we will be servicing and cleaning. And so one thing that I noticed is that they weren't able to remove the rear lock. Here's the seat pin. This is pretty much rusted. It's really hard to to twist and turn because of the rust that's been staying here. And as you can see in the seat tube, that some wasp has really been living in there, and up to the bottom part looks like deep signs of rust. Anyhow, we will be cleaning this up, and in a matter of days and hours. So checking on the tires, maybe we can still use this. There's more life remaining out of it. After refurbishing this, we will be cleaning the tire and look for some defects, and if possible we can still use. There's more years for it. This is a bit more bump proof, and there is no bend on the wheel, so everything will still be aiming for this to be used. So what to do with this bicycle is, what is lacking: the seat tube, the saddle, the pedals, and probably the chain behind those chain guard is a bit rusted because it is so hard to move right now. So we will be taking off the bottom bracket and hoping that the bottom bracket is still okay. There's no play as I'm shaking it, so probably the bearing is still fine, but the chain might not had any servicing throughout the years that the previous owner has been using this bicycle. I still have some wheel for this front one, and also rim brakes. Here is the drum brakes. So ultimately, very few parts are still missing. We'll be adding like the pedal, seat tube, saddle, and the front tire. So let's get it on with the restoration. First is to apply some penetrating oil. It says Durfo penetrating oil. Been and everything should be applied. So everything will be removed from the moment on. This handlebar grip, I hope I can remove this because it is rock hard right at the moment. Hoping also that every part and bits can still be used. The target right now is not to buy any part, but use what is available and use whatever is still running. So we will really hope that everything will run perfectly after we will refurbish this. So apply everything and remove everything. Bolts and nut fenders that needs to be removed shall be removed. And on the other side, there you go. Currently, I am able to remove the grip shifter and also the brake lever from the right side, and the side is a bit harder. I need to decide if I'm going to cut this so that I can make way of the lever. So here's the lever on the right, and also the grip shift, the Nexus grip shift on the right side as well. And then I was able to remove the cable and also this attachment at the rear end. Now, one of the main problem that is why this wheel is still attached because of the lock. And the problem is that I don't have the key of this, so I acquired this bicycle without the key of this lock. Now I am stuck with this, but I have some tools. So this is big. I haven't used this set yet, but right now I am going to try my hands on this. I think this will take quite some time to figure out which of which. Actually, another compartment over here, and I haven't tried one yet. Oof. And I will return to the camera later if this thing actually works. But before that, I'm going to spray to wish me luck on this, because I think this is a spring loaded, so I hope this is really stuck inside, so that when this thing open, it will suddenly quickly burst open. Okay, so a moment ago I was watching video tutorial on how to use this one. So these are really pristine condition because these are really new. So I think this is the tensioner. Sit here. It will act as a tension. It will guide me. I need to consistently add tension on this part. And while my hand is pushing through this lever, I decided to use this one, or if this will not work, then I resort to a single side. I actually don't know, maybe this one. Wish me luck. Now I keep changing different tools because I don't know, and then according to the video that I watched, that it requires a little much skill to do this, and I should listen to some clicks. So the tension that I'll be turning should be on in this side, and then I'm going to push it towards that side clockwise, and my left side, this is where the picking should take place. So I'm gonna try again using this one and listen for some clicks, and then maintain some tension. There's a lot of dirt coming off from the keyhole. Finally, after a few minutes of picking this lock, it finally budged and opened. So this is a gachi lock, which is dedicated for Panasonic brand bicycles. So this is manufactured by Panasonic. Finally, I am able to pick the lock using these two tools. Actually, it was so simple, but I got confused because this is just my first time to pick lock, and this old, so I didn't know that it was already open because it didn't click as I expecting that it will click open immediately. But the spring tension is slow, so maybe I need to clean what's inside this lock. But for now, I'm happy that it is open for me to proceed taking off this wheel of the bicycle. Since I think that this cable and this lock will be irrelevant from now on, so I'm going to take this cable off away from its frame. It's a nice system because cable holder, there's this lock system that makes the cable tidy up in the frame, just like this one. But it's easy if you pry it open using flat screwdriver like this. Just like that, it becomes loosened, and I'm already free. System are still holding up the cable, which is ultimately connected to the main lock in the rear. So I'm going to cut this up because I will retain this lock at the back, but this is already broken, so there's no way for me to repair this. Been cut off and hit with a mallet before me by the previous owner. For this particular braking cable, I need to record this because there's a specific line where it goes and connect. So that it's very simple, but I might not be able to remember or recall this all the way up to the drum brake right here. So after cleaning up with this bicycle, I'm going to change this housing, but the cable is still okay, no rusting inside. And then I'm gonna risk using this one but not the cable housing anymore, because of course, as you can see, it is already brittled by age and by rust. But for sure, the cable inside it is not the same situation with the housing, so I'm going to use the cable inside it, and just I'm gonna put some lube on it and then grease, because this is made up of very fine stainless cable, whereas this one is made up of steel and some vinyl coating on it. So now I'm gonna remove the entirety of it. Alright, now it's free and it's up to me now to grease this one, because this thing is hardened by age and by corrosion. So I already pre-loosened this one because a while ago I was taking off this bent fender. We'll be restoring together with the bicycle. So the main issue is just that this front fender is bent. Main problem with the front fender, aside from that, well, just a normal dust. And then I noticed also that here is the serial number is US F27DE9. Well, for sure it says the code of the date, when, where, and how many number was produced during that year. But I don't know which number should I read, which year it is. If I may guess, if F is the year or the month of the year, and then it's 27, and it's DE9, which is, I don't know, which stands for whatever. In the front, this is already loose, so I'm really making sure that every bits and pieces and small parts will be intact, so that when it's time for me to put the bike on, all its parts are still intact as much as possible. Very minimal cost can care. Parts will be getting back into the bicycle. Now it's time for me to take off this headset using this adjustable wrench. So the adjustable wrench is not working, but I am able to find this really huge wrench. This is perfect for the nut of the head tube, head parts. The handlebar has been removed. Now this headset, head parts, as you can see, it's visible that this has been penetrated with rust. And you can feel the quality of these things. The metal, the workmanship, it's pretty thick. So it's so durable because it is Panasonic. These are special bike tools meant for bike mechanics to turn this specific ring. And now all those lock rings are removed. Now this will be easier for the rest of the parts. As you can see, the rust, because the rain keeps on penetrating this part. So after cleaning this up, I'm gonna put a lot of grease in this area. So another lock ring. This thing is pretty useful. So loosen now. but the rust is giving it harder to turn because of the rust. Oh boy, really pre-loosen this one, and lo and behold, how dry and crispy the chain is and rusted. This is severe at its finest. But I think this chain would still work if I'm going to bury this in rust converter and take all of the rust. But I think it's not worth it anymore because of the rust, and it is totally bone dried.
So looking at this condition right now, even though this chain ring has been concealed in this chain guard, it was probably parked outside at the space outside of Japan, and it was all been exposed to the elements, and probably during the winter, the snow and the rainy days, the water seeps through this area right here, and during the summer also when it's so dried up that it looks like this.
Or something, someone is hiding, someone is living inside here. Some lizard. Hey bro, hey. Some gecko is hiding inside, showing up. Now going back to the story of this chain ring, it's not so sharp at all, so it means that it has still the life left when it was left in the open, and chain probably is still not so used and it still has life on its own, but because it's already dried, it's not worth to reuse this one, so I'm going to change the entire chain system. Continue removing the entirety of it, the chain guard, and of course the arm. Look at that, it's well preserved inside this casing, and the chain guard really protects it. And as I've said, it's not so sharp yet. This is very heavy, but it can still be used. But I doubt if I'm going to use the chain at all. There is still a life left on this, so we'll see. We'll clean this up and then try to put it back and see. This is the water level right here, as you can see, drained and poured again with water or the rains. Most probably the previous owner don't know how to maintain bicycle, do basic maintenance, which is very normal in Japan because majority of them are so busy that they would leave this outside the train station or outside their house, exposed to the elements of nature. Wow, it's amazing, so beautiful. So this is what's been holding this up. Place some penetrating oil. I can turn this thing easily. I think it's loosened. It's actually through that direction, not counterclockwise, but so this is of the bottom bracket, not yet inside. Off. So now I realized by taking this off a chain protector, chain cover, I actually need to cut the chain because this casing, the chain loop side of it, it's hard for me to take without cutting the chain. I'm too cutting. This is it. Finally, I removed and I cut the chain, and I realized that this chain actually has a chain link. So it could be easier. So I spent like 30 minutes cutting this up and damaged one of my chain cutter. Good thing that I have another extra one. This one is really of a bad quality. This is my first time using this, but the old chain cutter proves that durability really shines through. That I'm going to connect this back on because it has a chain link. It will be easier for me to use this when I assemble the bike. So as you have seen a moment ago that this is already like roasted, but I'm still going to try to revive this. The rust is making it so crisp. Some areas really hard to bend. I'm still gonna try to soak this with WD-40, then try to exercise and bend some of the parts of this chain, and I hope it would still work. So everything is still nice. The ball bearings are still intact and looking strong. So nothing is big of a problem. Only some dirt there. You need some cleaning and need more oil and grease. So yeah, everything can still be used. In broad daylight after I started this bicycle. Now as I've checked the tire, this is the rear tire, and as you can see this is already trash. The good thing supposedly is that this is still the original Panasonic Roadrunner. Size is a 27 tire. It's 27 by 1 and 3/8. Although this is a very common size for this type of bicycle. Probably the original owner of this in Japan didn't throw this bike until it's non-usable anymore, and then usually the owners don't know proper or basic bike mechanics, so instead of changing some parts of it and some maintenance, they'd rather throw this away. And the good thing for us is that we scavenge this thing, still be used for another 50, 20, or even 100 years if you just maintain it properly, because bicycles from Japan, especially the branded ones, really are built to last, and the materials are so durable that can outlive most of people's lives. So I'm going to change the tire and then check the interior tube if it's still okay to use. Now flexing some of the projects that were put aside, like this Goodrich, or this is a Columbia bicycle, pre-war 1930s bicycle. It has a skip tooth chainring, and it has a truss bridge bicycle frame. The original pedal is still attached into it, and it's been hanging here for about a year already. We just didn't have the time. And other projects that were put onto hold, those mountain bikes over there. There's BMX, there's the Araya Muddy Fox, and there's the Mountain Cut Panasonic. Here's this Montgomery Ward bicycle. It's a step-through frame. It's a road bicycle. Actually also interesting bicycle to build for a project. And if I'm not mistaken, so this is the front wheel for our Vista Panasonic, and I think that's the dynamo in front of the dynamo hubs in for the front. So it just need a bit of a cleaning, and then of course it needs to be taken out from the rest of those tires and wheels. So this is a tour for our studio tour. So here is the port that I dismantled and removed from the Vesta Panasonic, and it's quite heavy actually all of the parts, you can tell the quality of the parts because of its weight, also even with a quick release set pin. And also this is quite interesting, the bottom bracket is so heavy even with just the ball bearings of it, and it's made up of steel that is so thick, and the type of steel really designed for heavy duty usage. And of course the kickstand, which we will be cleaning in a bit. And here is the chain guard, and then the fender, the rear fender, which has very minimal dents, of course, and some paints, spray paints that were randomly applied from the previous owner of this bicycle. And here are the tools. After brushing, this is what remains, and it is very hard to take off. So it's already brittled, and I can actually scratch it with my nails. So just by looking, it looks like a resin, a varnish that's been hardened, and somebody poured a bottle into the fender. Very dried and brittled. Going to chip them off from the surface and continue with the cleaning. So this is a bit of a challenge for the front fender because it's bent. Takes some hammering and until forming back to its original curvature. Now as I am trying to remove it, actually it's a little bit of gummy and rubbery. Some are being cut. Areas as well is easy to be chipped off. I'm starting with the thicker area to remove like this, so the water actually helps because it seeps through underneath the surface. It's making it easier now. In no time this will all be removed, hopefully. Actually it still looks like it's still wet and glossy. I don't know what's the purpose why they poured some varnish in the fender. It's only that they brush or use airbrush and then cover the entirety of it. It would be nicer that way, but it's awful this way, so I'm gonna remove it because it's not part of the fender. As I'm using this metal polish liquid and also an old denim. Now after several hours of polishing and applying this compound, it is a very effective because the yellowing and the stains throughout the years are gone in some areas that I have applied moments ago. Those deep rust and imperfections and trails of rust under the paint are the only visible lines, and also the cracks, the paint chips. But other than that, those areas that are pristine are back to its pearl of white color. It's pretty nice because some deep stains are also taken off. So those areas that are like this needs to be buffed. But other than that, it's really shiny and buff. So some areas of the frame needs a little bit more of the buffing, and those details scored. The head tube needs to be more buffing, but see the difference. So here is the area that I already polished, and then the areas that were affected. So I was rubbing this with metal polish and the compound, it eats up with sticker. I just didn't intentionally take off all of this, but later on I will be removing this sticker and also this one, or maybe I'll just leave it there because it says the history of this bicycle from its registration number. So the head tube will be polished. So now I'm applying the compound. Here's my method. I just used my finger using the wet metal polish and then the liquid. It's very efficient actually. Now I actually am not putting a lot of force and pressure into the frame, but as you can see, as you can tell that it is really working right now here. So rust, this yellowing and oxidation. Using my finger very lightly, I didn't apply a lot of pressure in the surface of the paint, just to show and demonstrate this how effective this compound is. So just like that, very lightly, yeah, massaging it on the top of the paint. Now you can tell that it's really working, and by the moment that I'm going to wipe this thing off, and tell that it's really effective. And it's very economical also, because I am only using a very small amount of this, and then the entire bottle can last up to how many frames. So I've been using that. Now it's time for me to take it off. See? Woohoo! Now this is probably a bit of a problem, but for sure it will be taken off.
Naman shiny.
Make this a very, very shiny Zaki the Polisher. Wow! 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 Wow, Zaki the Polisher. Look at him. So effective. Wow. Also the fork. Very good. Ew, that's a lot. Tsaka fast ng bata. Uy, grabe ka-effective. Wow! 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 Very good. Nice. You're a bike mechanic. Nice. Another? Dara man ang front, oh. There.
There.
There, okay. Oh my god. That's a lot. Ako i-spread, ha?
Okay. Ayun na use the finger brushing. Basa. Time to do that.
It's working, 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 it's working.
Nothing.
Wow. Very nice. How dirty the paint looks like this with a lot of dirt and discoloration, almost like a patina with rust. Now I'm with Zaki, applied some metal polish in the surface of the paint. Now he's going to wipe it clean. He is such a fast hand worker. Very, very efficient worker. Look at that. He's like a machine. 5, 4, 3, 2, and he's not done yet. Whew, are you done? Look at that. Huh. Nice. Very smart boy. He's
Buhok ka.
using different techniques of cleaning the bike fork right now. So shiny. Oh wow. It's not like that. It's a bike fork, not a fork rake. What the?
Fork money.
Not for raking, but a bike fork. Hey, don't do that. Reached to this point where I needed to polish the fender, and right now this is really taking its place. And then one of the spots that I couldn't polish off is this area where they spray painted the surface of the fender. So here's the real offender. Sure. But most of the grease and grimes that were sticking through the time are gone. And after that, front one also that I did, but I didn't comparison. I didn't polish this part right here and the top because in the tip, because of this dent that I needed to hammer on. But this side where I am holding right now is a bit polished and almost ready for the action. So I got into the point also where I needed to clean this thing up. This is the stand, the kickstand for the rear wheel, and it's full of rust. It's not the worst situation condition, but I've seen much worse than this one. But I'm going to take my time and do the cleaning and rubbing of this compound, which is the metal polish liquid. Now it's almost gone, but I think a bit ounce that is left in this bottle, but it's going to be a battle with this bottle. So stick around with that. My method is very simple, so I poured a little bit of amount because I only have very few left in this bottle. But as you can see, I am using my finger and then I'm plainly spreading it out. But as I am spreading, I am applying a little bit of pressure into the surface of the metal. Apparently, the surface, the cleanest one, has been removed, the rust, and I'm going to apply the entirety of this metal piece in a few minutes from now. Work that I'll be doing. All right. The bottom bracket, which I preloaded already with a lot of grease, so it will last for a couple of years from now. It's all being soaked in the rain, dust, and whatnot. Starting off with this bottom bracket loaded with this multi-purpose grease, NLGI. I don't know what it means. Shooting this back into the bottom bracket shell, making sure that it's the right, following the thread. Definitely this one needs a little bit of attention, especially this part right here, which is pretty rusted and then hard. So I'm going to revive this one, though these are rusted parts, but I think these are still workable, I guess, and I hope so. Pose a bit of a challenge because it's already hard and rusted. So let's spray this with WD-40 and then soak this for a little while, and we'll see what happens in a couple of hours. Stretch this. Now to compare the sides, this one still bears its logo. The Z Zoni is totally unrecognizable. It's like an ear from a different era, but it's a whole set of chain. So this is very challenging.
already been dried. I drained all the oil and a little bit of gasoline, washing it off with the gasoline. Now it's some parts are still hard that I need to break loose, but most of it, majority of the chain, I think are being revived. Whereas this part right here, it's already soft. It shows now some signs that it can still be used, although the rust is very much stiff, but there's a sign of hope right now because some are getting back, and conditioning it would take some time because the chain is still not so stretched, and this one right here is very stiff and hard. So I'm going to break this loose using this plier. Now after a while, I've been using two pliers to pry this open because it's been cemented by the rust, and then now it budged. It will take me a lot of repetition to stretch and restretch and to take all of the rust inside it, but it is very much possible actually to use old chain, especially changed. It's not yet that stretched out and worn, old, because this is not so worn chain. It's just that it's been soaked and it's been rusted for a couple of years. It's a wonderful hubs. This is a 3-speed Nexus. I'm going to make another video out of this because it will take another hour for just re-greasing and taking all of the parts. So now what I can do is just to basically take this off, all the nuts here, and then take those off and clean it up, take all of the old grease and repack a new set of grease in there. It's been cleaned, although it's not really that well polished, but at least I added a lot of grease inside it, plenty actually, generously splattered. As you can see, it has been dirt and grimes, and in here I haven't added grease yet, but it should be added through this round rubber thing. So by the time that it's felt that the brake is not working well, and it's been raining and it's been soaked with water, you feel it squeaking, so you need to add grease and oil in this parts of grease. That's the sign and icon that you need to pour something into the hole and put it back again. And now it's time for me to install this back up again. You just need to push it a little. It's very smooth because of the grease that's been applied. Now it's been very silent because of the grease and oil that's been applied. It's all so silent. It's a really good sign that the gears have been conditioned and placed well. Install the lock ring. This one is a bit different from the regular lock rings. Oh no, this is not yet the lock ring, but somehow a bottom bracket washer. So what it does is it will somehow protect it from turning. So it has this dent which will hinder it from turning together when you are turning on the bottom bracket. Both sides has its lock ring. I am carefully installing it, carefully aligning with its thread, so it will take a bit of time if you're not so used to it. So right now, this is the chain guard that I have installed. Currently it looks ugly, but this is a bit essential and compulsory. Installing back this chain guard one, which I almost forgot, and this is a two parts located at the bottom part and also here because this will sandwich this middle plate. So the two parts right there and also here, and then I added an amount
grease generously so that it will the weather and the climate, the natural elements like the moisture, the rain to seep through inside the bottom bracket. This grease is pretty much useful and necessary for this to survive longer. And next, of course, is the crank and then the chainring which is already fixed. This is quite heavy. This is very much durable. It has the teeth, as you can see. It how many teeth are there? It's 54, 34 probably, and it's made up of steel. It's been grinding for probably a couple of years from the original owner. Now it's transferred here. Once I cleaned it, it can still last for another couple of years with hard usage. So there's the grease, and then load it like that. And of course the crank arm nut, exact spot. Now it's on, and this is the beginning of its life. So it doesn't have the chain yet, but the testing bottom bracket pretty strong actually. And this is a good testing point to know how the bearings are working if turning this thing, the crank arm together with this mechanism in the bottom bracket. You know that this bicycle still has many more lives left. As I cleaned up the handlebar, it looks like a very fine, wide gentleman's bar. This fine relic is very much important as it bears the name of the Panasonic, just like the head badge. I mean the head tube right here. So this thing is original part, and it took me some time to take this off. Although it looks awfully dirty and grimy, but this is the original paint. Some paints have been stripped off from this rubber handle grip. So I'm going to put this on back in there. The other one has been lost already, only the grip shifter. I kept the right hand. This one will go back there as the original relic, the Panasonic. Now the fruit of the labor. In no time it will be complete. Wheels will be installed back in there. Fender components of this bicycle. Really beautiful about this rim to wheel set. As I open it up, there is really magical situation right here. Now as I discovered that the rim and then the inner part of this tire, this tire has been busted. It's obvious that it's unusable anymore. The wheel set so much clean inside, and I have to check if this inner tube can still be used. Believe it or not, these tubes are pretty durable. If there is no holes in this, then this can still be used for many years to come, as long as I'll be changing this tire. This is actually 27 by 1 and 3/8, and then the rim tape protector, the rubber lining in there, I'll be filling this up with air, see if this can still be used. There you go. So now actually there is no chance for this. Such a big hole. Maybe I can patch this tire up. So there are patch tools for me to use, which is perfect for the size of this. Also came from Japan. Oh, so it's a rounded one. Well, anyway, I'm going to use this one. So sand this and then use whatever is in here.
The front hub, the dynamo. This is in hub dynamo in each 80. This is the original hub for my Panasonic. So there is no logo of the Panasonic, but this comes with the bicycle. 6 volt, 2.4 W wattage. Here is the made in China in the plastic. Although I'm not going to use this as of the moment, so I'm going to temporarily use whatever is available in the in the shed, but right now, just to check it, it's not turning actually. It's a very hard, maybe something is stuck inside, so this thing needs some servicing and needs some polishing as well, so that will take us quite some time, but for sure this is a good quality. This is quite so heavy, maybe half a kilo. This is an aluminum, the axle is made of steel, and what's inside are
The Panasonic Vesta is only 28 point something, which is weird because this is the only seat tube that has that size of diameter. And here's a 27.2, which is very common for road bike and other bicycle. Very, 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 very small for this diameter. So this is a seat post converter, which is size of my seat post is 27.2, and it says 28.6. Provide the solution of this particular issue. So I just have to insert this converter in there, and will be followed with my seat post. Now it's perfectly snugged and fitted. So there you go. There's always the solution. But most of the bike shop are not stocking with this type of converter. I'm just lucky to have one. Well, you can order it online. Now for my tire, it's 27 by 1 and 1/4, and it's very special tire. It's pretty cheap. It's only 240 pesos. It's 250 or 250. It's Liu tire, manufactured in the Philippines. Only downside of this bicycle, given that it's pretty robust, very strong. The only downside of this is that it is so heavy. You can dribble it like a basketball. It can last longer, and it's pretty cheap as well. Back, and there's an extra cable housing. The front and the rear brake cable with housing has are complete. This is the front one, which is a shorter compared to the rear, which is a meter or almost 2 meters long. So we're going to install this right now. Saddle that didn't come with this frame because when it came by, there's no saddle joining it installed within the seat post, but now this is saddle's condition that we're going to install in a few bit. So here's the seat post with its converter. This thing needs to be upholstered, but temporarily we're going to install this. Back into the pan. There's this the shifter. It says it's in the number 1 gear. It's a mistake. I should have installed this one first before the shifter. So I'm gonna take this off again. Now it's time for this rusted metal to be installed back into the chain ring here. So here's a technique that I found, and I realized that this lock, the chain tensioner, has a different side, which the flat belongs to the inner side, while this side that has a dent on it should belong to the outer side, just like the other one here. So as you can see, the tensioner, this tensioner right here in the flat side should be in the inner one, and then this side, which has a groove there's a groove here, should be on the outer side, so there won't be any confusion when installing it back again. Now let's put this back on, this cap, and then the nut. So the nut has a shape of a cone, semi-cone, that the small side should be facing outside. Now I'm pre-tensioning it. And finally the stand, kickstand. This is very important part of the bicycle, especially for this utilitarian bicycle. And before that, there's this special type of washer. Teeth of this washer should go in there, and it should fit in, while this dent, the depressed side, is where it should be placed like that. And on the other side, the left side, we have this normal plain washer here that goes right in there snugly together with its nut that fits perfectly in this dropout. This is how it should go there. This is the mechanism for shifter, and those four dots, spikes, should enter those depressed hole just like that, and shake it for a little bit so that it will go in there inside. Now it's fine. So right now we are taking some of the parts here because we really need those washers and some nuts. And of course, since our Panasonic didn't come with this carrier at the back, we need to take this off. And I already got the rear washer and nuts, so this is the only one that's been holding it, and it's not budging because I didn't apply some grease on it, some oil. But now I'm bringing some vice grip. Now because of the vice grip on the other side, can easily pull this thing off, make it turn. Right. Now finally it's loosened. Alright, it's free now. Whew, this is way heavy. Rear rack at the back has a smaller hole, needs to be drilled. So I already pre-drilled this hole right here, but still left the side pin, the seat post lock pin. Alright, it's now fitted in there. Now perfectly. It can now fit in the bicycle over there, because that one needs to be replaced because it's not parallel to the ground, it's slanted, and I don't want that. This is much more suited for that action. See, Sky even accepted this one because of the rays of the sun. Update of our newly built MAMACHARI bicycle. So I just recently installed this rear carrier, and I bent this a little bit because it's a bit too
here so that it will fit in there because it was too wide for the hole, and then I bent it a little. Now it's ready for the baby seat. Right there. Looks awesome. And of course the pedal, which is old. It looks ugly, but it's packed with grease just recently. It has been serviced, and chain as well, and also the bearings inside the pedal is pretty much packed. And of course the brakes and the shifter. I already installed the shifter, all its cables, shifter cable and the cable housing and brake cables as well. So everything is working now. So here it is. But there's only one issue here, is that this is the only thing that's been holding this. This is the only one left, and then I realized that we need two of this bracket so that it will hold the rear carrier. So I'm going to get some bar like this. I'm going to use this bar, this metal bar, cut it same length, put some holes so that it will be uniformed. Whatever fits in there would also fit in here, so all the holes will be uniform. Same with this one. This is taking way too long to take these nuts off. Found some pretty much useful technique. You just have to spin it like that, and in no time it like that. So there's only one left now. It's easy for me. See? Whoopie-doo. Now is, although this is way too wide, I think it will work. So middle, it doesn't have to be that perfect. Cut it here with grinder. The hole in each hole, same as this one. Dedicated pencil for this job. Gonna draw some dots. Actually, my passenger is already here.
Ano man?
Thank you.
Can you make a big hole?
Yeah, another one. Easier for me to make the hole here.
Not gonna work.
Para maka-ride na ta sa to. It's fitting now. So the last thing is to cut this line right here. We're going to clean this thing. Yes, now
Wow.
this is way cleaner. I didn't strip the rust protector, the red lead, because it's been protecting the metal for years. Since the rain, it was exposed to the sun, rain, and all the elements in nature. So what we'll do is just to spray this with paint using this primer. Sige.
Wow, it's a white.
Now it's gray.
Mura lagi white, Daddy.
It will protect the metal from rust and stain. We'll dry this in the sun. There. Okay. Okay, we will cut this.
Daghan lagi footprint.
So cool, right?
Yes.
So we will install it here behind.
Daghan ayo
Right,
to
like that.
fireworks.
Yep. Like
Very
that.
daghan.
Like that. Okay, very good.
Na ano.
Ow!
I'm
That.
sorry.
Okay, it's fine. Let's add the screw. One.
And
Okay. Next is the katong gold.
in here.
Yep.
Hi.
Okay, one black and then one gold.
One
Here.
Humana.
Yep, there, over there.
Dili.
Very good.
Need ani.
Because it will lock the screw in place and it will become okay over there. Drop it there.
Ari.
Very good.
Dili ari. Dili igo. Baka.
You
Ari.
drop it.
Okay, nani.
Yeah, that's fine. Very good. So there will be another batch of 4 at the back. Okay.
Adi na naman need the black and gold.
Here.
Adi. Ari first.
There you go. Very good.
4 pieces lang.
4 pieces. All right.
Dili lang din ako tang-tang.
Almost done. Very good.
Huh?
We need to align all of this into the hole. Okay, turn it. Turn, please. Very good, very nice. Very nice nga bata. Alright, this is the best mechanic, the youngest bike mechanic in the world in action.
So, Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
Humana.
Okay. Yeah, spin it more. More. Very good.
Humana. Humana.
Yeah. Bata.
Dili lang.
Turn, please. Okay.
Na naman.
Almost there. Please.
Humana.
Almost there. The 2 in the middle, please turn those screws.
Na naman need. Daddy, na naman. Sige lang ni mo push. Na naman. Humana.
Yeah, mana.
Dili na ni mo push up. Dili na ni tang-tang. Hoy, naalagi motor hive. Na.
Sit.
And next, yahat chain.
Okay, and then the chain. No, this is not the right way. That's it. And this one needs to be locked. The seat post.
Pwede ko test.